G'day everybody, welcome to the first edition of From the Demo to the Master. My name's Michael McGlynn, I'm the owner of Vienna People Productions in Sydney. In this series I'm going to talk through the creative process of how you get from an initial demo all the way through to the finished master. The first song we're going to look at is A Nightmare of a Dream by Anabelle Kay. It's one of my favourite songs that I've ever got to work on. In this series we're going to be going through a whole bunch of different genres, from hip-hop to folk to rock. This one's basically a soul tune. So what I'd like to do to start with is just show you the demo, and I'm just going to talk through the process. So it's a 6/8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So my first thought was the intro was a bit long. So the first thought was that we should just come in straight with the vocals, and that's what we ended up doing.
I've been searching deep in my soul.
Let's keep going.
You wanted to tell me.
So this is the second half of the verse.
You would wanna hurt me, why can't you? Well, all this time you think you waited, but I wait on you.
There's that voice.
You treat me badly, oh Lord knows you do. So why do I keep coming back?
So then it goes into another round of the chords instrumentally. I remember thinking that we should just go straight to the verse again, which we did.
So why do I keep coming back? It's been a long, long time.
And then the third verse here. Oh no, even longer. It's truth.
It's been a long, long time.
So I haven't listened to this demo in about 2 years.
Do it all again.
You know, the structure of the song essentially didn't really
There'd be no
change.
beginning, so there'd be no end. Whoa, all this time you think you waited, but I wait on you. You
It's a great
treat
vocal.
me badly, oh Lord knows you do. So why do I keep coming back?
Then it goes to another instrumental. So my initial thought with this demo was that the instrumental sections were just probably too many of them and too long, so it was really just to make it all about the vocal and about the lyric. Structurally this song's quite interesting because it's not your typical verse, chorus. It's more, you've essentially got like an A section, then a B section, and the B section contains the tag of why do I keep coming back. then it's got structurally a totally different outro, and it never goes back to the A or the B section. So basically it's like A section twice, B section once, A section again, B section again, and then a C section, and then it's out. So I was born by C section, by the way, but that's a totally different thing. The song is beautiful in its rough demo form, and it was just a case of, for the production of it, how we can extract all the goodness of that demo and just try and make it exciting and really get that soul flavor in there and really get the groove factor happening. I'm going to pull up the session now and we'll have a look at the session. Okay, so the first thing that we really had to nail was just getting the band down and getting a really great soulful groove on this track. Anabelle's band were just absolutely amazing. We had Jacob Borg on drums, Eli Milokovic on bass, and Adam Wills on guitar, and the three of them just combined so magically. Basically, normally when I'm tracking a band, the first thing I'm concentrating on is just the drums and bass. I'm a sucker for drums. I'm a sucker for a great rhythm section. And so that was the main thing we concentrated on. Anabelle played piano and sang, and the boys played as well. So we'll give you a taste of what went down right at the start.
I've been searching.
So the old drums in on beat 2, I'm a bit of a sucker for that. If we solo the drums, it was a really splatty snare sound. Now the snare, it's kind of a favourite snare drum sound of mine. We really detuned that snare, and in the room it actually doesn't sound very good, but recorded it just sounds amazing. So experiment with really detuning your snare if you want to get something deep and splatty like this. If we add the bass, and then we add the guitar, so that really was the basis of the track. Drums, bass, and guitar. Of course, there was a piano there, but we redid that later on, which we'll get to a bit later. So there's this riff so we get to this riff that we worked on. It felt a little like if it was just playing the chord progression, it wasn't quite enough to hold the interest, and we wanted to try and find some cool bluesy riff, which is what we did. So we came up with this. So that blue note is really important. And later on, when we built on the track, we really played up that riff with horns and backing vocals and strings. So essentially, yeah, it was just all about really starting off with a great rhythm section and building on it from there. So once we had the basic band down, it's then a question of adding the right overdubs. And this song had a lot of overdubs. The first thing we did is we added these really cool guitars, which were actually through this massive Fender Mini Deluxe. And it just sounds really, really horribly beautiful. And what that sounds like is this. Really gives you this kind of shitty, dirty sound, which I love. We also doubled up the octave there. Then there's a whole bunch of shakers and tambourines, which are really, really simple, and they're just kind of there to widen that downbeat. So the shakers just sound like this, with a shit ton of reverb on. And then the tambos are kind of doing the same job, really. Then we added a whole bunch of saxophones, and this is the fabulous Mikey Vitano on saxophone. And they're just doubling those riffs. We recorded them with an old Reslo ribbon mic, a 60s ribbon mic. And ribbon mics just love brass and woodwinds. Saxes just sound so fantastic through a ribbon mic. I highly recommend you get one. Then it was a question of adding some strings, and I got the fabulous Jess Graham, who is also an artist by the name of Wren. And I'm going to do a video on one of her songs in an upcoming episode. But first thing we did was some pizzicato. And then, once again, the strings doubled all the riffs. Nice staccato notes. This section had to be big and staccato. As you can see, I've used a lot of reverb, which is a Pro Tools thing, but it's just one of my favorite reverbs. It just sounds amazing. Then I played some Hammond organ, once again, doubling the riffs. We've got a beautiful Hammond M102 out there. And there's lots of swells. That's how loud it is from the laneway. That bad boy. So that's essentially it for the track. There's a bunch of horns, there's a bunch of strings, there's some shakers and tambo, there's a bunch of guitars, and there's that fantastic rhythm section, and then there's some piano and Hammond, and I forgot the backing vocals. So Anabelle and I are both suckers for backing vocals. And they're pretty huge in this track. So that's just me and Anabelle doing about, well, that many layers. So it was all about adding those gospel vibes. And then one of my particular faves in the backing vocals is in the second or third verse, whatever you want to call it. Anabelle did these beautiful how. And then right at the end, there's a lot of layers there. It's amazing what you can do with just two vocalists. I mean, all of these big layers, the vocals are just the two of us singing. All the saxophones are just one saxophone player, Mikey, just layering a whole bunch of parts, some on tenor, some on alto to give some different tonal characteristics. And all the strings are Jess just on violin and viola. And then the final piece of the puzzle is just that magnificent lead vocal of Anabelle's.
I've been searching deep in my soul, but I came here to find you, so please don't just go.
So that vocal was recorded on a Neumann U87, and then it's going through, bit of EQ, bit of compression, well, quite a bit of compression, bit of de-essing, Pultec EQ, and once again, the trusty deverb. Look, sometimes I don't use deverb at all. On this particular track, I just used an absolute shit ton of deverb. Look, that's essentially the whole process from listening to that original demo, which you could really hear how great the song was. And of course, you had Anabelle's amazing vocal. And it was just a question of making it a soul tune. All the elements are there. We've got strings, we've got horns, percussion, Hammond organ, piano, bunch of backing vocals. And look, I'm really proud of this song, and it's actually the first music video I ever directed as well. So thanks very much for watching the first episode of From the Demo to the Master. I hope it's been interesting. Make sure you check out Anabelle Kay. I'll put links below, but all of her stuff is amazing. She's a really brilliant artist. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of these videos with heaps of different styles, heaps of genres, and all of them great songs, I promise you. So thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, apparently that's helpful, so do that, and like this video, and comment if you've got any questions or anything I've got wrong. Thanks heaps, everyone. See you next time.